today into the picks and bans of our first game of this semi-final. I'm Initialized, that's Aragon. And already a couple important bans on Eintracht's side in particular. You were talking to me in the green room about that Jinx Prio. It's gone. Talia's out as well.
Yeah, so I was thinking, you know, Sion, Lulu, Jinx, this was the bans that were against GK, and they were really, really good. Talia as well off the board. I think Ari is going to be next on the table for Giyu. That's the main other champ that he's played.
Sure. And it's interesting as well that we saw actually when we were looking over the VODs from Eintracht, everyone was first picking Maokai in that particular series, and that seems to have bled over in today's series. They're going to get a hold of that. They've actually also gone towards the Xayah. On the other side, of course, the Rumble gets through picks and bans, which has been pretty high prio overall.
The thing is, though, I don't really like Ari plus Maokai pairing. I think the double AP Mercs value isn't the best, so maybe we see some kind of AD mid coming up for Giyu. Something like Tristana could be great, but the problem is if you let that go 3, it could be pinched.
Okay.
Gonna value Xayah Rakan, though. Gonna get free scaling into that Xayah then.
And it's also then the Rakan away from Lilith, who just spammed that across the quarterfinals. He's very, very proficient on the champion. Understandably taken away. And of course, with Eintracht over on red side, they do like to give him the opportunity to flex around his very large champion pool. So trying to go for a solid pairing early on here.
Yeah, I do think now you can match support. Nautilus is really, really good historically. You can do Rel and Pike, because it is Lilith after all.
That's true.
This is a surprise, although it is Zanzara, so it isn't.
Yeah, and exactly. He did play, I think it was in the game 4 yesterday, pulled it out. Of course, has pulled it out semi-regularly from there. It's an early aggro jungler. You could do weird things on it. That ticks the boxes of Zanzara, for those who remember him from the LEC in his mad Skarner days. Can certainly pull that out. Now into the second phase of picks and bans. Anything you're looking for here?
So I think you're going to pinch away. The thing is, the reason why they drop support, if you're the side of Eins for that R4, is there's 3, I think, main candidates that you could pick away regardless.
Sure.
You have enough supports that even if they do get pinched, it doesn't matter. The Ari takeaway is brilliant. But yeah, for the supports for Einspandau, it is still the Nautilus, Pike, and the Rel, I think, all have really decent matchups into the Rakan. And you make things volatile. You can run around with the Rek'Sai and do great things.
Yeah, and again, we were kind of aware that there might have been a possibility the lane swap. There may well still be, but one of the things we did note from Eintracht was that ability to use their jungle support to pull a little bit of volatility into a map that can sometimes be a little bit slower in the early game. So giving that potential, especially when you've already got the Rek'Sai locked in.
Yeah, I think, and then if you're side of GK, we'll probably see like support potentially locked in here into the Rakan. And then if you're side of GK, some kind of AD mid is usually what you pair off the Maokai with. You could also just do a control mage. Asol maybe could come out, you know, because we've seen Giyu.
Yeah.
But you said Giyu has a huge champ pool. Even though he's only shown really Ari Talia so far, there goes the Asol.
Yeah.
I think Tristana would be pretty meta. Yone could also be good too.
I mean, back in the day in LPL, it used to be Jace Maokai all the time. That's kind of fallen out of favor, but you're right. Something AD with a bit of shove, with a bit of ability to team fight, sounds like a pretty good option here for the mid laner of GK. We'll see what they end up going towards. Kind of expecting a support pick here on 4 from Eintracht, unless they really want to pull out something weird. They're going to ban away the Nautilus you called out as a solid pairing. They're debating the Alistair. Lilip's played it already. We know it's a solid frontline option. Locked in pretty easily.
I wonder if they're going to take a page out of, I can't remember which team it was, but the Silas into the Alistair was something we saw come out.
NG, it was Miru's team. Was
Miru,
so it says Besiktas.
But I don't think that will come out because it is still blind. I'm not a big fan of it. Now, they have to have a good answer into the Rumble, or the Rumble it's not a flex support now. It just got killed. So it is just a top lane. Ornn historically has been a really good matchup because you kind of stonewall it and you can actually set up for potential kills. Out of all the tanks, at least, that would be my option as well.
How wild would it be to have the Rek'Sai top and the Rumble jungle?
I think Rek'Sai top, since the nerfs, is kind of dead. Since you have to get more Fury. Do you get less Fury, rather, and you have to auto-attack more for the sustain.
So it's not as valuable as it once was. So there you go. My dreams are immediately shut down. Aragon with the reality check. That's why he's doing this job specifically. Last pick required. You've already got the Ornn locked in, so your front line and engaged zone control between that Maokai and that Rumble, very, very strong indeed. So it has got to be this mid laner. We're expecting the AD option, the Tristana, the Jace still there. The Tristana is locked in. There you go, you called it early.
I think it's going to be a control mage now. I thought something like Syndra, something like Orianna would be very up Power of Evil Street, and they're also good matchups into the Triss because it denies the ability to all-in hits. Very painful, so yeah, that's how you round it out.
So, of course, when Power of Evil was first coming into the pro scene, and I remember this because I was watching this because Alex Ich was on the team at the time in the EU Challenger scene. He replaced Alex Ich in the mid lane. He was very famously, of course, named after Syndra. It's what he's been playing for many, many, many years, and of course, in this current meta, he's still going back towards his control mages. Back on the Syndra again. Lots of pick CC now. If the Rek'Sai or the Syndra catch the right person, the Equalizer comes falling on down, Syndra presses R. Single targets could get pretty quickly deleted, I imagine.
Yeah, you have a lot of front to back for GK versus a lot of pick, like you said, in early game volatility from, I mean, you just have push in so many different ways, right? You have push topside with the Rumble, you have potential for the roaming Alistair, as well as, playmaking through mid with the setup. You have, however, on the side of GK, a lot of scaling and front to back with this double AD carry composition. This opens up so many plays in the mid game. You can do Baron rushes because of the DPS, and in general, if you get to that team fighting stage, even, you're going to come out on top.
Got to get there first, though, of course, and that's sometimes a little easier said than done. The likes of that Rek'Sai, the Alistair, Rumble, obviously early, very, very dangerous and able to get those skirmishes running to see whether GK can hold on. And Journey, they've had their on camera right now, and glad to see they're all in the same house again. There were some tweets going around about a couple of those players having to play with 100 ping. Wow. And still doing as they've been doing. That's, pretty insane stat to be pulling off. They're all together now. I think it's in Egypt, if I'm correct, remembering where that gaming house is. But go check out Edward's Twitter page if you want the full story there.
Being able to land combos, like Talia combos, Ahri charms, that's impressive.
Who needs ping, Ping? Just do it anyway.
Oh, I feel bad for complaining.
Right, exactly. It's, oh no, 34 ping, whatever we're going to do. It's like, these guys got triple the ping. And maybe I'm just bad. That's probably the actual truth, let's be real.
You and me both. You and me both.
Your elo is significantly better than mine, so I don't know what that says about me. Still, coming into this series, of course, it's Eintracht Spandau who are, on paper at least, surely the favourites, unless, well, except of course, you cannot help as we go on to the Rift. Just looking at the story of GK and where they've come from and how they've got here and who they've defeated to be in the semi-finals, it's already an extraordinary run. Might get more extraordinary still. All stacking up. The Zaya's gone towards that top side, and Aragon.
It's happening.
I hate to say it, but it is looking like a lane swap.
It's already preempted. Before the Zaya even got there, I saw Ruby Crystal in Bong's inventory, and I saw those dematerializers, telltale signs that we're getting lane swaps in the game. And you kind of want to, yeah, sure, I get it. You want to scale up and scale up with the Zaya Rakan because you're not a champion. You're not champions early. Same with the Ornn into the Rumble. It's really, really miserable, and you also mitigate the burst strike that Rumble's taking. So I get the idea. It makes a lot of sense, and in this game in particular.
We'll see how they pull it off, of course. Because you're right, because I think we were all in the draft kind of going, yeah, it feels like Eintracht should have more priority early to make things happen with the champions they have, and this kind of helps mitigate that a little bit by maybe starting some things off early on in the lane swap. But before we get to that stage of the game, we've got to look at some potential level 1 shenanigans.
Yeah, so what's happening is Elwamir, he knows that, Maokai has incredible invading onto the Wraiths early because of Maokai's Q plus smite damage. It is so incredibly good with the AoE. The level 1 here, Bong, just linking up. Now, I will say someone is winning out on the map, and it isn't the jungler for Eintracht Spandau, but the AD carry. He's free hitting. He's going to be able to get a bunch of plates in isolation and XP.
And Funky is such a dangerous AD carry to be doing that. So remember, this was a guy who was on the verge of winning EMEA Masters last spring, ended up falling 3-2 to the eventual winners in Wildcats, of course. So Turkey joining in the league and the tournament and doing the incredible things in their first showing. But we'd love some vengeance here for Prime League, and the rest of Zanzara. Searing charge, Bong just being an absolute menace. How much damage is this Rek'Sai taking?
Wow, Zanzara is really unhappy right now. He might have to recall. He's TPing down bot as well. Bong with this level 1. So GK have come in with a plan. They have this set level 1. They see the Rek'Sai, and they've come in with the Maokai Q potential for the invades, bringing up Bong, then TPing down because they know they're going to be pushed in by the Zeri. Really, really clean set plays.
Yeah, and again, it's the choice of abilities level 1 there from Bong as well, going for that mobility, that ability to try and catch people out of the jungle. Causes so much trouble for Zanzara, so much strife, and you love to see these slight adaptations on the lane swap. People kind of tend to assume they play out the same way every time, and already we've got some of those slight differences coming on in.
Ping's coming down. I think they're going to rotate and go bot side. Bong might recall after once the bot lane gets there and head top as well. It's already temper swapping away with that AoE early, swapping down to bot side.
Really trying to make sure that happens, and just want to shout out Giyu there as well. Gets hit by the stun, and rather than buffering away, buffers onto the minions and Power of Evil to help get the shove and a bit of damage back. You'll have to see the mindset. They're really trying to fight for that priority.
Absolutely. So this Tristana pick, really, really important that you can perma push. You really want to be continuously pushing, but this support room might stop that.
Yeah, I was just kind of keeping an eye on Lilip's journey down through the red side jungle. It's like, how aggressive does he want to be? Giyu throwing up his characteristic thumbs up emote at this point. Does like to spam that one for the emotional damage.
Yeah.
And you were making a point about Tristana trying to fight for that shove and what they were going in. Immediately Lilip is kind of on the same page and trying to make that a difficulty.
Lilip Zanzara Now linking up, trying to stop this. You can see the Zarya Rakan swapping again to avoid this duo. And Lilip, he might just have to trek all the way back top lane.
So
He's running a marathon, this Alistar, going from top to bot all the way.
Poor cow. Like, normally you kept in a nice pasture, you don't have to think about the wilderness. Instead, there's no home for the cow, you know? Yeah. There's no farm. Enough day to be an Alistar.
Yeah, just gonna be grazing topside now, I think. But it looks like they might commit to mismatch lanes. They might say they've had enough of this. You can see Alistar going down bot side. They might just say, we can come out on top in terms of these pushing. But nah, it looks like he's going to go back top lane. We might get Rumble, Zeri and Alistar running top again. And the problem here is they're playing catch-up constantly. So you have AoE pushing from the Zarya and the Rakan. They're pushing. What they're going to do here now, again, is they're going to push this wave, crash the next, recall, and then the Zeri Alistar is going to have to follow them again.
It's going to be so delayed getting there. And again, that is potentially a huge, huge deal because obviously against Karmine Corp were well ready for the lane swap. They matched it, honestly, they exceeded the lane swap in many ways of GK's when they faced off in the quarterfinals, but GK stopped lane swapping and they managed to pull out the reverse sweep in the end. But this time around, it does feel like GK have largely been the ones to be that step ahead on the lane swap, and just losing out little bits here and there about where they are in lanes and how readily they're getting towards things like experience.
Yeah, sure. And they're not opting to tempo swap down bot side now. So what they're doing is they're actually staying because Grubbies are up now as well. So with this level advantage, with getting to level 3 and 4 on the Zarya Rakan, you're a lot stronger. You have all your spells. You can combo up single target, one champion. You can contest these grubs. That's exactly what they're going to do.
Worth noting as well, EMEA just slightly ahead of Xantra in terms of the farm. Hasn't led too much of a level difference yet, but here comes Aggressive Iron Strike Spandau. I think they want to fight this. Speed Shrine in the river might make it difficult. They'll throw down an Ultra Shock Laser and all turn up, but decide against face checking, and so all 3 grubs are secured. And part and parcel of the early tempo lead that they've had on the map in terms of just being that one step ahead in some of the plays.
So now, Spandau, they have a choice, right? They can crash this because what GK gave us by going mid, I might have to hold that. Oh, nice buffer.
Well done.
Nice buffer. So, do Ein Spandau recall top lane and then recall and go towards that dragon? Now that is the question, because they could go contest Drake, but it looks like they're going to continue matching, so we continue to get the 2v2 up top side. Exactly what Ein's want.
Part of the difficulty here, though, is obviously Vertigo doing pretty well in this lane. He's got a big wave here, of course, for Bong to pick up. So it shouldn't be as in the deficit as it looks like immediately on the scoreboard. But the other side of that is obviously Xandra, who is notorious in many ways for dropping a lot of his own CS to make things happen on the map, is leading out a little bit versus this Maokai. And we all know that if Maokai gets to level 6 kind of for free, it gets a little bit tricky because the amount of zone control around those objectives in particular that tree can bring is just pretty unreasonable, frankly. That's the equalizer you used. I'm not sure whether that was just for wave clear.
Just for some wave clear. Gonna farm a bit of first strike gold as well, but it seems like they're accepting neutral wave states. I could see a potential tempo swap back down to bot side as well, but Dragon being gone now might stop that.
Right side tunnels in the world around that river right now in the middle. Power of Evil taking the opportunity to get a plate. It's been playing out this lane very well. Burn flash on Giyu. Well, the burn flash was there. The buffer away from Giyu cost him a little bit of that lane tempo, and of extra gold there towards the veteran superstar in the mid lane here for Eintracht Spandau.
Absolutely. Both teams now, it's kind of a guessing game. They're both kind of opening up in different lanes, and crucially, what Lilip is doing, he's opening up through mid, and then he's going to go to whichever side he's needed. They don't mind laning Rumble plus Alistar or Zeri plus Alistar, so he's going mid. He's going to see the bot lane of GK go topside now and go towards there with his Rumble. And we're going to see another Rumble Alistar duo.
Well, how does that Alistar, that duo work? Alistar goes in and you try and get some harpoons down, I guess.
That sounds good setup for the equalizer, but it's down. Yeah. So it's 2v2. So maybe a bit of shadowing whilst not soaking up too much XP.
Yeah, is going to be spotted out here because of that ward in the pixel bush, but they could still potentially look to dive. It'd be tricky to pull off, I imagine. Of course, Rakan mobile enough to maybe drop the Tarago should they really wish to go for it, but happy enough just getting the wave shoved in for now.
Doing a good job of managing these swaps, I think, Ainge, despite having a shaky early, especially with that level 1, maybe not finding as much as they wanted early with the Rek'Sai. They give up a little bit of XP and CS on the Rumble, but make it so overall the team has a decent gold share. This Zeri is at least not falling behind and has 2 plates.
I think the issue, though, still potentially stems from the fact that we do want Eintracht Spandau to be making things happen in the mid-game now that they've got those kind of initial ultimates online. You're wanting to see some big-ticket equalizers, the Rek'Sai making plays happen, but instead it's the mid lane we need to go. Power of Evil being gank knocked up with the grand entrance. Not quite down, will unleash the power, but goes down as a Buster Shot comes along. He executes, still though secured by Power of Evil onto the Rakan to get at least something back.
Absolutely. Surviving 1-for-1 there, that cancel was really crucial, delaying the Maokai from being able to chain CC. But I think EMEA drops aggro a little bit too early. He W's very early on, and then the aggro goes to decap. Oof. He then takes the ramped up tower shot for 400 damage. That was a bit rough.
I felt like the Rakan was going to survive that, and nope, was not. Zanzara now, without the flash, but could still come mid lane. I don't think there's any real likelihoods. Could potentially pull the ultimate here, but I don't think he'll get that much more. Overcome the rest of GK. They want to play this out. Zanzara unburrows. There's the exhaust to keep him alive for now. Zanzara, they're in a dangerous position because the flash over the wall means he just dies. That was very overeager.
That is huge for the game state, because like we said, GK absolutely do want to make to this mid game in relative parity in terms of gold.
Evil just steps forward with the Sorcerer's Boots now. Does actually a fair amount of damage, and bot lane roaming towards this mid lane to secure mid prime, of course, because Giyu's reset was a bit delayed there by the skirmish. Could have caused some trouble in terms of the lane state. Does give Funky another bit of free time in a side lane, though, to claim another play, get himself in trouble. Might now be in danger because Decap's found himself a flank. The quickness comes on down into the ground entrance. Lilith now coming on up. The start ultimate from the Zeri still going to come coming on down. Lightning Crash, that's the name of it. Took me a second to figure out the name of it. Lilith aims to extricate themselves, so Funky has to ghost. Ult runs away, still alive. Decap nearly with a really good shot.
Almost with the one shot there onto Funky. It was a really nice movement. It was really nice movement from GK. They swapped up top side because the grubs are up. Swapping on grub respawn times is really, really good. Now, should be free for them because of how Funky had to reset, and now he does have flash. He can make it over here in time potentially.
Maybe look to do this. They eyed contesting the grubs the first time around and decided against it, but I think with Funky maybe down the ultimate there. Never mind that. Zanzara just goes over the wall, steals one away. What about the fight afterwards, though? Is Elramir getting chunked out? The teleports begin to fly. Zanzara flashes over the wall. The ultimate comes crawling across from the Maokai. That's the call of the Forge God across multiple members. Power of Evil still without his flash. In a dangerous position as Giyu just autos and kills Power of Evil. Lilith knocked up, but the stakes not high enough to go any further. They'll claim the kill, they'll claim the rest of the grubs, get themselves to that might spawn breakpoint of 5. Zanzara has to flash, Power of Evil falls again. That was a little overeager in the contest, I feel.
Yeah, a kill on Giyu, 4 plates down bot side though. Take a look at bot. How many platings did Vertigo manage to get? I think that's down to 1. So a huge gold trade now for Vertigo. This Rumble's really accelerated.
That's actually a really good point. It does get a lot of free time down there, and for all that the on-screen action looked pretty good, the bot lane, as you said, definitely favoring that Rumble.
So it starts off with a nice TP from Bong. He finds a timer here. He actually actively gives up a bunch of gold. He says, I'm useless anyway. Knockup comes through. The jump comes in as well with no Scatter the Weak. So just gets bursted out. The Flash Bellows Breath as well from Bong.
Just to ensure there was really no way he was getting on out there. That was very well done, and it feeds over gold to that oh-so-key carry of the Tristana. Still, though, the gold is close enough to even. Only 300 gold in favor of GK, and the fact that Power of Evil is still farming very well. Vertigo, as you said, doing just fine in their own individual matchup. Funky getting the plates, the free lane time. Contract's certainly not out of this game as it stands. Dragon spawn, so we might be ready for another fight, though. We go again. Lilith knocked up, does have the ultimate available, so will likely just fall here. No way to increase those defenses, and Giyu picks up a third. That was pretty easy, frankly, for GK.
GK running the map in this early game. They have so much more pick potential with the Maokai W's, with the Rakan knockups, getting through that lane phase.
I mean, honestly, we were expecting the Rek'Sai, the Alistair, to maybe be causing a little bit more of the early proactivity, and honestly, from the other, it's been the other side as GK have been making it happen.
I think the big thing is they managed to get through the lane phase with the lane swaps, right?
Yeah.
You need to get to level 3 and level 6. These are really crucial breakpoints for the Xayah Rakan, where you get all your spells and you can just combo up. We saw the one-shot attempts on the Funky, and now that they're past there, they can just run around the map.
And then the lane swap in this case was less about winning the lane in the sense of it's just got my AD carry loads more gold. What it's done is it allowed members that might otherwise have struggled to play the early game to get through to a mid-game state where they are actually viable and haven't had to deal with some of these uglier lane matchups and just skirmishing moments the way it might have happened otherwise. Hasn't stopped Vertigo, of course, from still being pretty strong in and of himself. He's up a solid, what, 40 CS there in the matchup. Bong sacrificing a lot for his team.
At the very least, Bong is even an XP, and this could have been a lot worse, right? It is a nice matchup in the sense that you can Stonewall as one of the best tank picks into the Rumble, but you do fall behind a little bit. But yes, absolutely. I think Vertigo is running away with the gold a little bit now. With the first strike and the plating's down bot side, extremely accelerated.
I guess my question then becomes, like, does the Rumble have the potential to really take over this game? Because I know sometimes Rumbles get to the point where Lockets get built and they just don't quite have the damage to win out games by themselves.
It's quite nice when you're Rumble that you have kind of set up for your equalizer. I think, for example, Maokai Rumble's a great duo. You throw down the Maokai ult, everyone gets rooted, you drop a red carpet on them. I think you have the Alistar knockup at the very least, and a bunch of CC from the Syndra and the knockups of the Rex side to work with, so maybe be able to transition for sure. Vertigo going to get first tower as well.
It's going to be a lot of gold into the top lane of Eintracht, who honestly has often been more on the bridging pace. He's been on things like the Rex, not the Rex, the Renekton duty, and I say this to the Renekton main, but you know, the point being that he's often been there to bridge, to take less draft priority and be forced to put into difficult matchups. The wait on that one, though, is a bit of a skirmish around the Herald begins. Another ultimate from Maokai. Vertigo on an angle here to potentially throw down the equalizer. That's not fantastic, all things said and done. Decap stunned up in the front line. Zanzara has to go away. Lilith now forced to flash, got the Unbreakable Will rolling, but it's still going to be rare stakes for dinner for GK, who win another fight.
Wow, that was a... This is a bit of a stomp.
Yes.
I didn't expect it. So the teleport comes through. They decide they want to contest. They have one item across the board versus one item across the board. So you think, you know, this fight is going to be... It's going to be not that bad, right? But Vertigo's ult, it just whiffs. And exactly what we're talking about, without the setup, you just throw down a red carpet. It can dissuade someone from hitting because they don't want to walk on it, but it really doesn't. It only really lands on Decap. Into a replay, I would love to see it. But that fight, ultimately, Rift Herald going to go for GK as well.
That was a little bit awkward. Unfortunately, we're just praising or setting up Vertigo to be a really weak, big win condition and just doesn't get that much value here.
Take a look at this ultimate. Vertigo throws it down, and it doesn't really connect. In fact, it doesn't connect at all, except onto Decap. So then, without that tool, they have no damage. They get just run down by the Ghost from Leo.
And Funky was just about caught by the Maokai ultimate as well, so didn't actually have that much uptime on his own DPS because it was kind of like frozen out of the fight for a couple seconds. Of course, the game's still not anywhere near over. The fights have looked good, but the gold is still, frankly, even if actually slightly ahead now for Eintracht to pick up a second turret. Of course, on the other side, GK have yet to pick up any of those structures, so the moment they start claiming those, if they should claim those, that gold lead realistically begins to flick back the other way, but still a little bit alarming for Eintracht fans out there. This hasn't been the early game they would have been hoping for.
Yeah, absolutely. But for GK, it is absolutely going to be incredibly simple now. Because of how good that early game went with the Grubs, they have a very simple win condition. Going into this mid game, they can just play sides with Tristana. Tristana with Grubs is fantastic, and you could just shadow. You can see that's already what they're doing. The ping's down bot side, they can just hit this tower with the Grubs, and Tristana just shadow her.
I mean, Maokai plus Jace back in the day used to be the combo, right, where the Maokai would just sit by a turret like this, throw down the ultimate, give the AD mid lane a chance to order the turret. Tristana works exactly the same. We saw a lot of that combo back in the day as well. So that shadowing you're talking about, I think, is going to prove very potent in the mid stage of this game when you've got so many structures you can get a lot of value out of.
Absolutely. And now all this information they've gained in the bot side, they've got dropped a bunch of wards. Dragon's going to spawn in a minute's time. They have a bunch of items as well. It's going to be incredibly easy to contest this next neutral.
Dragon spawning in about 50 seconds, which I suspect will be our next point of call. Dragon apiece as it stands. And it is GK that have had the resets earlier, the ones putting down the wall. So there's still this one red ward just over the wall that is a known quantity by GK. They have pinged it out, but I don't think they got a sweeper or a control ward available to deactivate it as yet.
Teleport up for Bong. If he dies here, he won't be able to help that neutral objective. Syndra is on the way. Power of Evil. Could do the long chase here.
Maybe. I think he'll have a Searing Charge and a Bellows Breast, so the CC combo is going to be a little hard to land, but maybe the raw damage will be enough. Bong, beginning to walk away from his own turret, kind of knows he's in a dangerous position, begins to summon the Call of the Forge Guard, and Power of Evil just unleashes his own ultimate instead, and Syndra brings down the Forge God.
But what are they going to lose here now? Power of Evil has to recall and defend this real quick because they're against a Rift Herald with Grub buff, as well as this Dragon. They're going to lose so much for a pick onto Bong. Bong even mitigates the wave a little bit by dropping the ulti.
Tower goes down. Eintracht are there, so they'll at least claim the wave, but that's one tower taken. The Dragon will go down as well. Rumble at least gets that wave shoved into the tier 2, so that's a solid wave of CS that's likely to be lost here. Can roam into the jungle, maybe claim a blue buffer here as well, but I think he is on vision. In fact, he did just get pinged out by GK on the control ward they put in their own jungle. So the Rumble is known in his activities right now.
Absolutely. Neutral lane state now, neutral game state. You can open up and play for this top tier one if you want to. The other side of the Tristana, once again, it's because when you play Tristana, typically it becomes a game of how well do you play side lane. And you just send the Tristana to the tier 2s, you farm those tier 2s between Dragon timers, and you just accelerate the game so easily.
Giyu has been someone who has been playing the map pretty well across this tournament, honestly.
Absolutely.
It's been a slightly different style of map play in the fact it's been more the Talia and the Ahri that have been more about joining up with your jungler rather than having your jungler join up with you. But certainly has been very heads up, and frankly has been something of a revelation this tournament. Perhaps an unknown name to a lot of ERL and EMEA Masters enjoys, but certainly not unknown within the Arabian League. Local gold, rip, but the tower falls all the same towards GK in that top side. A little bit of the work that Bong did earlier, another one of those players that has made a bit of a name for himself, at least within some of the Cassie team here, who's been really enjoying his ability to get nothing out of a very rough lane states from just the way poor old top laners have had to play a lot of these lane swaps.
As well as have impact around the map. We've seen him teleport. I feel like he's had a lot more impact than Vertigo, even with a lot less income, not getting a bunch of that gold that Vertigo is getting on these towers. But this game state feels really, really hard for Einspando. You're getting pushed in all 3 lanes. Your Rek'Sai at this point is starting to feel a little bit useless. You could just transition this push into invades and vision deep in the enemy jungle. So GK, a really easy time about it.
Of course, once you start hitting 2, 3 items on the likes of the Zeri and the Syndra, well, especially when Syndra gets all of her shards in and gets that pseudo death cap ultimate upgrade execute, all those kind of abilities, is actually, that's a bit of an engage there onto Leo from Zanza, but the turnaround is just brutal. Forced to flash away, call the foreshore, grand entrance, and a quickness. Giyu hops forwards on a rampage. They get Lilith too. Vertigo is here. The equalizer comes on down, but a flash, W, and a bramble smash means Vertigo is feeling his namesake falling from his height. A triple kill to Giyu. They'll claim a double back in favor of Power of Evil to make it a 3 for 2, but it is still GK that are currently winning out. Bong taking a little lower, but that Dark Sphere just wider, claiming any more DPS.
3 for 2 for the side of GK. That collapse in the mid lane. Any play that Einspando make from Zanzar, whoever it is, it's always on a timer because you have push for GK, so they can collapse first every single time.
Still get that mid-tier 1 afterwards, though, so Eintracht, the play goes a bit ugly as they engaged onto Leo, but do you at least get something after the end of the major fight?
Yeah, so this play was on a timer, right? You saw they tried to one-shot Leo, pop the ulti and get out, what have you. But you see Giyu, he comes from top because he always gets pushed because he's so damn fed. They tried to turn it around. In the end, they do manage to pick up a couple kills, but it's still GK favored.
And afterwards, the extended rundown from the Syndra and the Zeri is actually pretty good here. That tier 1 afterwards. Giyu, though, 6-0-2. P and Power of Evil leading the way in terms of that gold score. It was the matchup we had our eyes on when we were prepping for the game, and so far delivering.
Absolutely. And I think, honestly, I'm kind of surprised. Right, I thought Einspando would put up a bigger fight, and I also thought this game would be a lot slower. GK on a team to do this in my eyes, with a bunch of lane swaps that we've had. Usually the games go quite long.
And it's been a very different style of lane swap. It's been a very different style of game, even if some of the broader moves have been similar. Another lane swap, right? It's just played out surprisingly differently. Instead, we're going to see a little bit of an engagement. Decap, Elromir's here as well, so is Power of Evil. It's a 3v3. Decap putting down his shield. The ultimate comes up from Lilith, throwing down that unbreakable will. Elromir's there. That's not a great equalizer. Again from Vertigo. Decap very low with the quickness. Lilith similarly taken down about 10% HP. Both support survive. A load of ultimates burned, but no one falls. 55 seconds until another Infernal Drake will be soul point for GK. Vertigo, though, about to face check. Bong, who could certainly begin to searing charge way into a wall. There's a blast cone there, he can get to it, but he's not going to get that far away. Gets Bramble Smash, but just gets to the side. So not mocked back towards the top laner. Vertigo gets out alive.
Moves from the Infernal Cinders and then the blast cone, getting out of that one. I was a little bit scared, but now, first move into this bot side for that Dragon spawn in 30 seconds time. This should be GK favored, at the very least in terms of vision. Now they might flip it, they might go to Baron. Oh boy, or no.
22 minutes, they don't have vision control around the Dragon. They decide we'll go somewhere where they don't have that control. Decap will be the one tasked with face checking. Down about half HP, teleports begin to fly.
No Warnhorn gonna come out. A little bit too far away. That was a scary turn. They thought maybe they can get away with it, but the vision on there.
Intimate backs here. Zanzra will be here to ward off that potential. He's on a blast cone though, so I don't think Decap in any real threat. But now the resets have come through. Can GK just stop Baron
They
themselves?
can stop Baron them. It's 20 minutes. They have double items with both AD carries. This is some of the fastest Baron taking.
Zanza is going to be getting zoned off a little bit here. Is actually stuck around, so could still look for the steal. He's stolen a Baron already this tournament. On that Rek'Sai, no less.
They need to keep this Rek'Sai out. They have Maokai Q
The
smite.
wall! He's in! He's into the pit! They need to kill him off! He's dead! Baron secured! Equalizer now begins to fly on through. Decap gets over the wall with a battle dance. Eintracht Spandau, they tried to bait the Baron and GK punished them on the reset. Power of Evil now in danger!
Man.
Explosively detonated! Funky tries to get some damage back. I'm gonna at least get a little bit of HP, but nothing remains. 3 dead. Baron secured. GK in command of this game. The Zeri in danger. Leo roaring like the lion he's named after.
2 items across the board. The Arabian League representatives with immaculate Baron control.
It was just such a smart call. Like, you saw what Eintracht were trying to do. It's like, well, we can maybe make this happen. Instead, we'll go back to this replay because Zanza did get in the pick.
And usually what you see here is the splash damage gets the Baron low and you might see a steal. But they managed to keep the Baron on 1.7k. They secure it with the Maokai Q smite, which does so much base damage. And no one else can get in. Zanzara can't get the steal.
And honestly, because Syndra's over the wall, the QE from Syndra can get very close to being an additional execute in and of itself. That's a 3rd item now for Q, with 8-0-3 on the Tristana. It's not the Moralian Soul, it's not the Talir, it's not the Ahri. It's an AD mid laner, and he has been popping off. Such a star for this region, such an incredible tournament, taking it to one of the legends of this game.
Absolutely.
I think we all, for those of us who've been following League of Legends eSports, will remember that Misfits series versus SKT back in 2017. That's the mid laner. And Gyu, this guy from Arabian League, doing this kind of thing in a game like that, it's got to feel pretty good for the Arabian League fans.
You've got to wonder, is this guy going to get picked up in LEC? Because I've only seen really good things from this mid laner.
Very solid.
And various different champions, 80 carries to mages, to linking up with your jungler champions like Talia Ahri. Extremely versatile.
It's shown some really good thought process, at the very least. Like, I can play champions that need me to play with my jungler. I can play champions that need the jungler to play for me. I can play to scale. Those are all really great skill sets to have and to show, and part of what EMEA Masters does allows you to get on a big stage and show exactly how good you are. Zanza and Power of Evil now trying to play out the sidelines, but Bong just clears the wave at this point as well. You can be down 50 CS, it really doesn't matter. He's got an upgrade on a Jack Show, he's got a Hollow Radiant, he's just tanky as you like. Decap engaged on, but has a battle dance and a grand entrance to exit his way from the situation. He's just fine.
Cross map not going to be there for the side of Eins. Going to look for that tier 2, but not going to be able to make it because, like you said, Bong's just going to wave clear. Now Bong stopping the recall of the Syndra. Going to buy more time to be able to hit as the ult comes through.
That begins to fly. Tower under siege. No way you can stand and deal with this. Knocked back into the team was Elramir. Makes a little difference though as Lilith, despite the headbutt, just pounds the ground 6 feet deep. It's another grave for the cows. 0-5-2. Support player we've had so many good things to say about was Prime League in this tournament. Not delivering, unfortunately, in this game for Eintracht Spandau. They're onto the tier 2. That wave was prepped earlier by Bong, who shields his own tier 2 and shepherds his wave all the way to the other side of the map.
Pushing in top side, they just take every single tier 2 on the map. All the standing gold that's easily accessible. GK playing such an immaculate macro game.
You can see, guys, when the Baron was taken, it's at a very flat goal graph, and then suddenly it is anything but.
Wow. This might be a really quick game. I didn't expect this, I have to say.
Genuinely same.
What is it? The average game time by Eintracht Spandau is 34 minutes or something along these lines?
Yeah, I mean, even the first game yesterday against Enigma Galaxy, the Enigma Galaxy 1, was a 42-odd minute game. They have played some pretty extended fights and extended games in general. At this point as well, I do want to call out, it's a Power of Evil special going towards a slightly unusual build on the center. That's no Seraphs or anything like that. He's gone Ludens into Horizon, into Shadow Flame. There's no Death Cap or Void Staff or anything to be seen right now. Is looking for serious burst on whoever he stuns, primarily one of those AD carries if he can connect.
Absolutely looking for early game power. Now the problem is...
It's not anymore.
It's not anymore. You have double AD carry, front-to-back team composition with 2 tanks in the front. This is a really hard-to-beat composition unless you match it in terms of scaling, and you really haven't when you look at Eintracht Spandau's draft. Something like an ASOL could potentially do that with the outrange, but double AD carry, it's hard to beat.
Yeah, now you've got a Wormfall and Sacrifice. Yeah, I know the Kraken Slayer upgrade. I'm cool like that. And so, no, I'm not. I'm very anything but I get to do my job, let's be real. But on the other side, you've at least got 3 items on Funky, on the Zeri. Maybe he can find a way to carry. He probably needs a Lord Dom's regards, I think, to be really dealing with the front line, but at least you're getting to those breakpoints. You're nearly at a death cap on Vertigo. Maybe once some of these items get completed, you can begin to find ways back into the game, but the map state, the compositional advantage or disadvantage as it may stand, depending on which side you're looking at, very difficult to manage. Vertigo is away from this tier 3, but with Baron timed out, I don't think this wave will last long for the various skills Eintracht Spandau will deploy on the wave.
I think EMEA throwing the ult out a little bit too early, not on the crash timer. You need to throw the ult so you find uptime on the time with the Tristana, but she wasn't quite close enough. I'm going to have to play on the next waves, but the problem is they're playing against a lot of wave clear. At worst, they can throw the Scat of the Week down, the red carpet if they need to. So finding uptime on these towers is kind of rough.
Eyes on the objective timers, 40 seconds until another Baron spawns, a minute 20. Till Infernal Soul is on the table and available to be claimed by GK unless Eintracht Spandau find a way to deny that. I think looking at the game state with 2 Wormfallen sacrifices now, that's a lot easier said than done.
And at this point, it's very simple. You just keep in top and mid push, maintain vision control because you have that mid and top push consistently. Keep vision control in the jungle, and then Eins can never face check. So you take the Baron at some point with them trying to face check, and it's incredibly difficult to do.
Can't control the vision if you can't face check. How on earth do you even think about contesting? Maybe let Bong go a little deep, but again, he's pretty tanky at this point. I'm not sure that's really going to stop anything right now. 30 seconds or so until Infernal Dragon. Baron is live. Red side jungle being fought over tooth and nail by Eintracht Spandau, trying desperately to have an angle in. Zanzara over the wall in the Krug camp. Won't come tunneling over quite yet, and is looking pretty dire right now for the Spandau fans out there. Very difficult to play out the end stage to this game.
They could do so much DPS to this Baron. They could just take it incredibly quick. They need to keep Zanzara